Let's play some APBA golf. Today we're going to be playing Justin Rose at Birthplace, which is APBA's version of the St. Andrews course. It's a course that's been around a long time. At some points it is sometimes included in the game when you buy it from APBA. Other times it's a course that needs to be ordered separately. It's a fun course to play. Again, it's one of these courses that I think needs to be in every APBA golfer's collection. There are some unusual features about this course, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through this video. And one of the unusual features is the way that the wind works on this course when you're playing with moderate or blustery conditions. And today we're going to be playing with moderate conditions. But let me talk to you a little bit about Birthplace in case you don't own the course or aren't all that familiar with St. Andrews. It's a par 72, and I've played this course a bunch of times. In fact, I looked up before starting the video to see how many times I've actually played 18 holes here, and that number is 271. And I know that's a lot, and the vast majority of that comes from the 2022 Open Championship replay that I did and that I've posted about online at my website, thegamecaddie.com. And you can get there by going to www.thegamecaddie.com. And if you search for Birthplace or 2022 Open Championship replay, you'll easily be able to find the multiple write-ups I've had about how that course plays. Now, in that tournament, I had mostly calm conditions, and we had a course where the course itself was hard at times, and I think firm for other rounds, and so we got lots and lots of roll. Today we're going to be playing with soft conditions, so we will not see some of the longer shots that I saw in that tournament. Okay, if you look at those 271 rounds, my average in playing this course is a little bit under par, around 70.4 per 18 holes, which is roughly 1.6 strokes under par. The hardest hole on this course, in terms of how it plays for APBA, is on the back nine, and I'll talk more about that in the second video. We're just going to play 9 holes today. But the easiest hole is number 5. It is a par 5, and it's playing about a half a stroke under par on average. The best round I've had playing Birthplace was a 61 shot by Justin Thomas using his 2022 card under calm and dry conditions. And the worst round I've had was logged in by Luke List, his 2022 card, at a 79, 7 over par, and he was playing on a day in which there were calm and hard conditions. 3 holes in one, playing Birthplace, all on the back nine, all on hole number 11. That's Jordan Spieth, Tom Hogue, and Xander Schauffele, all 2022 cards. Okay, enough about past performances. Let's get started and look at the course and also look at the setup, which I've gone ahead and made some preliminary arrangements here. Flip over here. My version of Birthplace is in a binder, so I'll be flipping pages here. You're looking at hole number 1 called Burn. This is a links course, so we're not going to be dealing with any trees. We do have some special course features such as wind bushes, which you definitely don't want to hit into. You could get a lost ball or an unplayable lie with hitting into those wind bushes, so we're going to avoid them at all costs. And we also have some holes that have out of bounds. And as you can see on hole number 1 here, that out of bounds is only about 20-25 yards from the center line up to about 250 yards. And then if you go a little bit farther down the course towards the green, that out of bounds comes up almost right against the center line, and you've got some water there too. We're going to be playing pin placement number 2, so I'll go ahead and put the pin marker there so you can see where that is. And I'm going to bring you over here to the conditions tab so you can see some of the stuff that I've been talking about. So pin number 2, today we're playing with moderate wind and soft conditions, and those soft conditions are going to cause us to lose 5 yards roll when the ball lands in the fairway. We're also playing with type B wind, and there are 3 possibilities. You can have type A, type B, type C, and you roll for that using the separate set of instructions that exist for Birthplace, and today it will be type B winds. So based on what your APBA dice roll is, that determines the wind type. There are no prevailing winds for this course, but one of the other unusual features is that you have to roll for wind before each shot. So if you're not familiar with this course, this is very different than how most other APBA courses play. You don't have any time when there's variable wind, so we'll never be dealing with a swirling wind or a crosswind right or left or a tailwind or headwind where the wind effects are going to be unknown before the shot is taken. We will always know what the wind is. In some cases it might be a lot of wind that we're dealing with, and if we were playing with more than one golfer, those wind effects would be different for each golfer as well. But because we're playing with moderate wind here, we're going to be using the chart that comes with the course itself. So every hole has its own wind effects chart. And I'm going to show you what I mean here. I'm going to need to zoom in and move that pin placement so you can see what I'm talking about. So I'll move this over this way, and I'll draw in a little bit here in terms of the zoom so you can see. All right, okay, so right here, this is the wind chart. So you can see a column for the dice roll, and then you see a type A wind, and then a column for type B and type C wind. So the way that it works is before each shot, you do a dice roll, and depending on what that dice roll is, we're going to be looking up the wind effect in that type B column. So that's the type B column right there. And I'm going to then have to manually enter that into the game Caddie. And that takes a fair amount of time to do all of that, especially when you're doing a video. If you're doing it on your own, far less time because you're not having to stop and explain what you're doing. You're just doing it, and once you get in the habit of doing it, it becomes relatively automatic. But if we had calm wind instead of moderate wind, we would be using the wind charts that you see over here, which are the ones you would normally use when playing other APBA courses for calm conditions. And this chart is still used on Birthplace when you have calm conditions, but we don't have that today. The moderate chart here and the blustery chart are not used at all when playing Birthplace. These are replaced by the individual whole wind charts that appear in the bottom right corner of each hole board. All right. So we got to tell the Game Caddie how to do all this, right? So I can click on the configuration settings button, or I can use the hotkey combination Control-O. I'll just click on the button here so you can actually see it. And here's the change that we need to make when playing Birthplace with moderate or blustery conditions. we have to move from the standard condition over to modified. Okay, and then I like to have the game caddy do all the dice rolling for me. So I'm going to click on auto roll. So every time the wind rolls menu comes up, the dice will already have been rolled, and that will speed things up a little bit. And because Birthplace is, again, sort of this weird situation where you determine the wind on each shot, we got to click this box here too. Normally, you would just determine the wind at the beginning of a hole and not have to fool about, you would not have to worry about rolling again for wind on subsequent shots, unless, of course, you had a variable wind that required a second roll. But we have to do this each time. So I'll come down here and I'll click Apply Settings. I'm going to leave everything else in the same state as it's been for the other rounds that we've played. And we're pretty much ready to go. So let me come back here and show you the hole again. We'll zoom out, bring this back into line, put the ball marker back where we had it, and that's going to be at, looks to be 365 left 10. I need to load the hole, which I will do right now. Oh, we have the special features over here. And what I need to say is that what's contained in these boxes is a summarized version of what you get by way of the supplementary instructions from APBA that are the additional rules for the Birthplace golf course. I believe these rules are included when you buy this course, but if you got the course and you didn't get a hard copy of the rules, you can download these rules from the APBA website under the downloads area. And I'll need to refer to these rules probably as we play, because these rules cover some of the more complicated situations, such as when you hit into a wind bush and what happens when you're in a deep bunker, and the rules differ depending on whether it's a fairway bunker or it's a greenside bunker. And I've pretty much already explained how the wind works at Birthplace, but those rules are also covered in this supplemental set of instructions. Okay. So we'll go ahead and load hole 1. And yes, we can see that the hole is at 365 left 10. And because we're now using the modified wind controls, what will happen is that the wind rolls menu will pop up when I click the all-in-one menu here. And the first thing that we need to do before looking at what club we're going to use and where we might aim the ball is we need to look at what the wind is going to be for our tee shot. And so I've opened up this menu by clicking the all-in-one menu button, and you see down here it says wind roll, and the roll has been done for us. And I know that the part of this menu is blocked by where I've got the course position, but the good news is that all we need to really work with is this, what's called the dice roll, which is a 56. The other things that you can't see are what the red die and white die would look like in terms of making up that roll. So the white die, which is the ones die, is a 6, and if you add that to the 5 from the red die, that's a total of 11. So that's the information that you can't see, but we don't really need to use that for anything that we'll be doing. And as I said, we don't have prevailing winds. We're not worrying about any of this stuff over here. All we're going to be doing the entire day is putting numbers into the user specified result. So what's going to happen is I'm going to look at this 56, right? And I'm going to come over to that wind chart that I showed you for hole 1, and I'm going to look at what the wind effects are for a roll of 56 in the type B column for moderate, which are the numbers that are left of the hash mark or slash mark there. And so what it's telling me is that for this tee shot, we're going to carry an extra 20 yards and the ball will go 5 right. So what I'm going to do is come over here, put in the 20, and put in the 5 for 5 right, and I'm going to click the continue button that you can't see. Again, it's behind the course here, but it's a big button, blue button that says continue, and I'm clicking that. And what that is doing is taking the information that I've entered in those user specified boxes, and it's just plugging it in to the anemometer on the conditions tab, and then it's showing up over here on the Caddie tab. So here's our carry of 20 and our wind of right, and of course this information here affects what we see up here in the WI shot planner. It'll take, in this case, 20 yards off our carry objective. If you remember, we said we were 365 from the pin center line. Now we're 345 from the pin center line, taking the wind into account. And the same thing is true for the wind effect of blowing 5 yards to the right up there. Okay, a lot of explanation here at the beginning, but now we can actually get into playing. So we've got the common WI chart that's popped up here automatically for us when we open the all-in-one menu, and Justin has an average W of 4. So this is the column that we're going to pay attention to. Yeah, and that's the way that I play. If you want to look at a different column, or if you want to go to the trouble of counting up, what his actual numbers are in the W column and the I column, and figuring out what's the most likely result, go for it. That's too much work for me. So I just rely on this average W and average I number. That's how I choose which column I'm going to gauge the shot or plan the shot around. So the shot is likely to go 265. Let me come back here and zoom in a little bit more so you can see where that ball is likely to end up. And again, I don't want to be anywhere right of the center line, even though the pin placement is to the left. I don't want to risk hitting the ball out of bounds or into that water. So I'm going to aim way to the left in hopes of avoiding that. I also don't want to hit this shot too far, because that will keep me from being able to work the ball. So I've got to be at least 75 yards away from the pin in order to be able to work the ball. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to go with a 4-wood here, because Justin can hit the ball a long way. In fact, a safer play might even be a 2-iron. But I'm going to go with the 4-wood, and I am going to aim. I'm going to aim. I don't know, like maybe 45 yards left. Okay, and that will cost me 15 yards of distance. It's 5 yards for every 15 yards you aim. And let's just take the shot. Let's see where that goes. All right. He gets a 15, which is a 3. And so this ball is going to go left further. Take the shot. So he hits it 250, 50 left. All right, that's right here. 10, 25, 30, 40, 50. Let me double check that real quick. 10, 25, 35, 45. Yep, that's 250 left, and then we get just 10 yards of roll, which is fine, because I don't want to get too close, because I'm going to want to work the ball here. All right, so we're at 260, left 50. We'll go ahead and update. Ball's going to be in the fairway. When I open this all-in-wind menu, I'm going to have to roll for wind again. Okay, this time we got a 62. A 62 turns out to be, using the whole wind chart here, is we get another 20 yards and 5 yards right. So this may create a little bit of a problem, getting all that extra wind. Okay, so we've got a carry objective now of 100, and you'll remember from previous videos, if I wanted to, I could go ahead and turn on the approach caddy by clicking the path button. I don't know that I want to do that, because that pin placement there is only 10 yards from water, so I don't really want to take the chance of hitting short on this at all. So if I look over here, 3 in the I column is a 120. If I knock that down, surely I'll miss the water that's there. And let me show you what I'm talking about by the water. Right there, that water that runs in front of the green there, I want to miss that for sure. And so I'll settle for a longer putt if I have to, so that I can avoid a penalty stroke. So I'm going to take a sand wedge. Got motorcycles going by behind me here, and I'm going to knock it down. I am going to work the ball, and I'm going to work it 10 to the left. Rose has got an A for working the ball in both directions, so that gives me a little bit more confidence when it comes to working the ball. Put a 10 in there, go ahead and take the dice roll. It's a 45, and in the I column, that's a 4. And this shot goes, whoops, I forgot to put the work the ball value in after saying all that. So a 56 in the I column is 17. So this shot ends up going 360 left 15. See, that was actually a smart or a lucky play, depending on how you look at it. Here's 360, go left 15. That's going to put us right there. And we're actually going to lose 5 roll. Oh my goodness, I'm talking about a smart play, and ended up rolling into the water. He absolutely did. I spoke too soon. I forgot about the backwards roll on this shot. So it lands on the green, but then rolls into the water. Well, so we start off with a penalty stroke. Not good. Let's go ahead and record that shot. I can put the adjusted roll in there. And we'll update. It's going to be a penalty stroke. Record it. All right, now we need to drop the ball, and we can't drop it anywhere closer to the green. And I can eyeball this for all intents and purposes, I think, in terms of where this ball needs to be dropped. But 260 left 50 is where the shot originated from. So that's going to be, let me mark it out here again. This is 25, 35, 45, 50, right there. Okay, we'll line this up. Okay, so that ball presumably crossed the, across the water from the green side, okay? And we need to line this up now with the actual pin location. So if we do that, we can drop somewhere, back in here, essentially, is what we're talking about. And it looks like what I can do is just go right across the water there and put that ball at 350 left 10. And that's going to be in the fairway At least that's the way it looks to my eyes. So I'll come up here to the place ball at location tool, put in 350, left 10, and we'll place the ball, and that ball will be placed in the fairway. And you'll notice that now that recorded our third stroke. I'm going to come over here to the comments and just write water to explain what that penalty stroke was about. And we'll go ahead and take our fourth shot here. So 15 to the pin. From the fairway, come over here. We're not going to have any wind with a shot that's that close in. Roll the dice, 35. In the A column is a 3. Take the shot. Putt distance is 3 feet away. Let's put the ball on green to count the stroke. We got 4 strokes, 3 feet out, and we'll go over to the putting board. And I'm going to use the major tournament putting boards for the front 9 and the back 9. I've written some about that, again, on the Game Caddie website. If you just go over there and search for major tournament putting, you can read all about what I've written and some of the data I've collected on this. The way that you change out this putting board is to use this button right here where it says change putting boards. So if, for example, I wanted to go back to the regular putting boards, do you want to swap out the putting table? Let's say I say yes, and that puts the regular putting table here. But we don't want to do that. We're going to put a little extra pressure on ourselves tonight. Click on yes, and now we're back to the major putting boards. And we're 3 feet out, so we'll be using this column here. 46 is a 26 from 3 feet. It's in. This major tournament putting board doesn't necessarily result in more missed first putts, but what it does is for the putts that are missed, you do end up farther away from the pin, so it increases your likelihood of 3-putting. And that's key on a course like Birthplace because the greens are enormous here. I mean, and quite a number of these are double greens. In other words, the same green is used for 2 different holes, and so it expands the area of the green in total. So we've ended up with a 5 for rows on this first hole. Let's transfer these putts to the scoreboard, and here you can see we got a 5 fairway, 1 penalty stroke, and 1 putt, and we're sitting at 1 over. Okay, let me pull up hole number 2 here. Let you take a look at it while I get things set up on my end. All right. It's hole 2. And this is called Dyke, and it's par 4, 452 yards. And I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. We've got the pin over here on the left side of the center line, pretty far off. That looks to be 20 yards off the center line. And again, you can see how enormous that green area is. I'll show you there. Yeah. See all that green space, light green space? Okay. And this is a gentle dogleg, so we're not going to have too much to worry about there. But let's load the hole. Come down here to Birthplace, click on it, load hole 2. Click on OK. And let's click the all-in-one button so we can see what the wind effects are. You got a 42. Now this hole has its own wind chart that differs from the other wind charts, right? I mean, every hole's wind chart is unique. So a 42 in type B column is this ball is going to carry an extra 10 and go 5 right. So I'll just plug those numbers in there and click on continue. And we've got a situation here where we've got a bounce back point. You know, might as well use it. He only has one. Let's go ahead and use it and then figure out what club we're going to hit here. He's got an even numbered average W, so this ball is going to go to the right a little bit. So it looks like we can go ahead and hit a driver here without any trouble whatsoever. We won't go so far to be in those wind bushes. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug in the 4 here. I'll take the average W and reduce the lateral movement by 5 yards. And the 4, of course, comes from the average W number there. And we'll go ahead and take this shot. So it ends up going 275, right 15 in the air. That's going to be somewhere around there. And then we're going to get 20 fairway roll. So we're going to end up at 295, right 15. All right, good shot. We'll update that. And we'll call up the all-in-one menu for the next shot. And our dice roll is a 56. Looking at a 56. That translates to 20 additional carry. So put that number in there. Click on continue. And so that's going to change our carry objective from 165 to 145. We don't have any hole notes that we need to worry about here. And I will zoom in a little bit so you got just a little bit more detail that you're working with or you're able to see. All right. There we go. So let's look at what club we want to use. Average I of 3, 145. We have a good angle, so we'll be able to aim. Could do a 9-iron. If we knock it down, what that's going to do, it'll take 5 yards off the 9-iron shot result, but it's going to cut this wind in half. So instead of that being 20, it's going to end up being a 10. And I don't want that to happen. So I'm going to hit this, but I'm not going to knock anything down. I'm just go ahead and select, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and select the 9-iron. And something's going on here with, hopefully the caddy hasn't hung. I'm not quite sure why I've got this blue circle here. Oh, there we go. So just something was going on in the background of my computer. So let's go back and select the 9-iron. And we're going to aim, geez, pin placement's 20 left. I'll just aim 20 left. Oh, that'll cost us 5 yards too. So that might actually be okay. Left 20. So 150 is the club that we need. 3, 150. Yep, 9-iron. Exactly what we need. All right, roll the dice. 15 is a 3 in the I column, so we got our average I. I'm going to take it, reduce 5 yards, take the shot, and that ball lands at 455, left 20, which is exactly where the pin is located, and we have no green roll. So we just click the count button here, and that ball is 2 feet away from the pin. What a terrific shot. And the crowd goes wild. Okay, put the ball on the green. Let's go over to the putting boards from 2 feet. Rose has a 34, not a great number. Turns out to be a 26 in the P column for him, but that's good enough to sink that birdie putt. So we're now back to even par. Transfer the hole over, and now we've played 2 holes, even par. All right, So hopefully you've got the hang of how all this works now, and I could just play and won't have to over-explain things. Let's go on to hole number 3. I'll zoom out for you. Okay, that's what this hole looks like. Come back here, transfer hole number 3. Let's see what our wind is before we do anything. Okay, so a dice roll of 15 for the wind, which may mean no wind. Yeah, 11 through 16 is no wind. So we don't have to do anything here other than just close this box by clicking continue, which I know, again, you can't see, but it's a big blue box. All right, so do we want to use a momentum on this hole? Certainly could. We've got 3 of them. No wind. His shot, we can't aim or work the ball if we use his average W here. So let's see what would happen. So that's going to go right. So that probably is not great. So that 4 would go 265, right 10 or 15. And I'll zoom in more so you can see, again, the likely landing area for the shot. All right, so 265, right 10 or 15 would be that bunker. If I did 15, of course, we can reduce that by 5 and we can snake through there, but it's going to leave us short-sighted. We could still work the ball, but we will be short-sighted there. And I think I just want to hit to the left. So I'm not going to use the momentum point that I could use in this situation. And what I'll do is I will hit a driver and work that ball. Oh, I don't know, 30 left. I must have clicked on the wrong cell there. I'm not sure what I did. Okay, that's going to cost us 10 yards. Well, we'll do that. We'll hit a driver, aim 30 left. We don't have any wind. Roll the dice, 53. So this ball's not going to go very far, but I think we'll be okay in terms of where we end up. That's a 7. So altogether, that shot goes 40 left, 240, left 40. That's 240, left 40. This is 30 yards, I know, because I've counted that many times. So that ball ends up right there, 240, left 40, and then we're going to get 20 roll, 10, 20. So that ball is right there. And we saved our momentum point, and now we have a good angle. All right, so we'll add our adjusted roll, 20. Click the update arrow, 260, left 40 in the fairway, and we'll record that shot. Now we got to roll again for wind. Let's see what we get here. We got a 15 again. All right. So we have no wind. That was our roll from last time. So we know that we're not going to have any wind on this shot. We've got a good angle. That pin location is only 10 from the center line. And we've got some green to work with over there on the right. So unless we get a really sort of a disastrous shot, even if he's off by 5 yards, if we aim 10 right, we should be okay. We should still end up on the green is what I mean. So 155, 3 column, come down here, hit an 8 iron. I'll go 160. Let's knock it down. Take the shot. 43 is an 11. And so it's probably a good thing we did aim 10 right because this ball went to the left. So we end up on the center line at 405, which is the same as the pin center line. So we've landed here, and the ball rolls an additional 5 yards, green roll. And so what we've got is, looks like 1 diagonal and 1 straight away. .28 feet. And let's hop over to the putting boards. Justin Rose in this year was a pretty good putter, but you know it's really difficult to make putts beyond 19 feet without leaving yourself some distance if you miss the putt. So I am going to play it safe from 28 feet with Rose. Take a roll, get a 64, which is a 23. From 28 feet, come down here, and that's going to leave him 4 feet away. And that was just playing it safe, right? Okay, let's take the second putt. 22. Okay, well, that's going to be in. That's a 4 in the P column. That's definitely in from 4 feet out. So he pars the hole. You can see how you can rack up a lot of fairways on Birthplace just because there's so much fairway everywhere you look. I'm not sure it's that way actually at St. Andrews in real life, but that's the way the APBA course is designed for sure. All right, let's move on to hole 4. Show you what we're looking at here. Okay, this is the course, or the hole. And our pin is going to be way back here on the left, near the back of the green. And let's go ahead and load the actual hole. Birthplace, hole number 4. And let's look at our wind before we do anything. We got some hole notes on this one too. Our wind roll is 16, and a 16 is no wind again. Terrific. All right, so I'll zoom in again so you can see the likely landing area. Somewhere in that vicinity. If I look up here at the hole notes, and these actually apply, I probably shouldn't have zoomed in that quickly. These notes apply to these crosshairs that are up in front of the green. So shots landing, rolling onto the purple crosshairs, bounce 15 left. Shots landing, rolling onto the yellow crosshairs, bounce 15 right. And all shots that bounce continue the remainder of the roll in the direction of the bounce. Okay, so that won't come into play on the tee shot, but it could on our second shot. Okay. So let's see what we want to do here. We've got no wind. Looking at where this tee shot is likely to land, which I'm guessing is, you know, somewhere in this vicinity right here. I want to stay away from those wind bushes. I'd sort of like to avoid that little bit of rough there too as well. So I'm gonna, I don't know. I don't want to lose too much distance on this hole. So I'm going to aim 40 left on this hole. I could still probably end up in that rough over there, but I will most certainly avoid those wind bushes. All right, we'll stick with the driver and just take the shot. 44 is a 3, so this ball is going to go left even more. So we'll be in fairway. I don't think we'll be up there to that deep bunker that kind of sits up there around 320, 315. The shot goes, yeah, 260 left, 55. So 260 is here. That's going to be 30, 40, 55. And we get, how much roll? 25, 10, 25. Yeah, so we're in great shape. Put the 25 roll in. 285 left, 55. Record that as in the fairway. All right, let's see what wind we've got for the next shot. 13. Oh, this is terrific. I don't know who programmed this dice roller, but I'm loving it. Okay, no wind. And you know, wind on Birthplace, again, because you don't have any variable winds, it's not as big a deal as, even though you can have a lot of wind, it's not as big a deal as it is on some of the other courses, right? Because it's all predictable. You're rolling before you take the shot. It's not after you take the shot. So you know in advance what you're dealing with. But sometimes it can make club selection a little bit tricky. And so scores do tend to be higher when you play under moderate and certainly blustery conditions than if you're playing under calm conditions. Okay. So we're going to be 225 away, and we're short-sighted. So I do possibly want to work the ball. I want to avoid that deep bunker over there that's not too far from the pin placement. And I'll back out a little bit more because now you can't actually see where the ball marker is. Let's see if this is enough. Yeah, there we go. I think that'll work. Come down here a little bit. Okay. So we want that ball to carry, I don't know, 210 maybe. Let's see what we've got here. Average W4, 210. Well, that number doesn't actually appear. We have a 2-iron or a 3-iron. So 215, that'll probably roll, I've forgotten what it rolls on the green, maybe 15 yards on the green. That could go a little long. A 3-iron, just as long as we don't hit into that deep bunker. I'm going to select a 3-iron, and I'm going to work the ball, but I'm only going to work at 5 left. So we'll come over here and put a 5 in there for work the ball, and we'll take this shot. 24 in the W column is a 4. All right, so that's his average W, and I'll take it, reduce it by 5, and then over here the work the ball number is a 25, and that's a 3 in the W column. So we'll put a 3 in there, and let's see where this ball goes. So 475 on the center line. We missed that deep bunker, that's the good news. But we're going to be 20 yards shy of the pin center line, so that's going to be right there. And then we only get 10 yards of green roll. So we come up a little bit short, but we avoided those crosshairs. We avoided the deep bunker. And now it looks like we are 2 diagonals and 1 straight away from the pin. And that will leave us a grand total of 47 feet away for a birdie putt, which of course we are going to play safe. 55, it's a good roll, but not going to be good enough to get it in. That's an 8 in the P column, 47 yards. That's going to be leave a 1-footer. And so for par, 35 is a 10, and that's certainly in from 1 foot out. All right, so we got another par there. So after 4 holes, we're still shooting even par and racking up those fairways and greens in regulation, I might add as well. Okay, let's take a look at hole number 5. I'll mark the pin here while you're looking at it. It's right up here on the right. This, by the way, is the easiest course on the hole on the course. Based on all the rounds that I've played, it plays, like I said, about a half a stroke under par. And it's a par 5, so we're hoping to take advantage of a birdie opportunity here. And if we stay left of the center line, things look pretty good. If we go right, that's where we can get into trouble with deep bunkers and with those wind bushes. All right, let me go back and zoom in again so you can see the likely landing area, which is going to be, you have to adjust this a little bit so you can see, in that general area right there. All right. I haven't even loaded the hole yet, so let me go ahead and do that. Birthplace, transfer, hole number 5. And let's take a look at what our wind is going to be. 25, and a 25 on this hole translates to just a 5-yard carry. All right, that in there. So we'll hit a driver, and boy, I just don't want to end up in those deep bunkers around 260, or possibly even 295. So I'm going to hit 50 left. Yes, there's some trouble over there on the far left, but I like my odds better by hitting way over that way. I'm going to lose some distance here. It's okay. Take the shot. It's a 21. 21 is a 5 on his card. We're going to go even a little bit farther left. So this shot goes 250, 65 left. So we know this is 250, 30 left. 40, 50, 65. So we hit it past the trouble that was over there, and it gets another 20 roll. So 10, 20, right there, and you probably can't even see it. I'm going to have to come down this way for you to see it. There we go. Okay. So we'll put the 20 adjusted roll in here. And 270, left 65. So Rose hasn't really had any terrible tee shots, in terms of, going 50 left or 50 right. But you can see on Birthplace, when that happens, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you could end up, in closer to the center line and still on the fairway, depending on where you've aimed. All right, let's set up the second shot here. Now he's going to be 290 out here, so there's no reasonable way that he's going to make the green. So we're not permitted to aim on this hole. Back this out again because you don't have enough probably room to see everything. Let's see, can you get it now? Yeah, there you go. All right. And we do have some wind bushes to the right of the green there, sort of guarding that pin placement. So this is a par 5. I just want to get the ball on the green somewhere so I have the opportunity to two-putt if possible. So while I could aim if I were going for the green, I'm not going to I can't hit the ball. I don't think I can hit the ball that far. It's got a 4 in the W column. Well, let's see what the wind does to us here. Oh, so a 63. Well, we might have some wind here. That might change things. So a 63 actually adds 25 yards carry. Wow, that does change things. So we'll put a 25 in here. Click continue. And so now our carry objective is just 265, a 4 in the W column for a 4-wood 240. Legitimately, he could aim at this. You factor in the amount of roll that he's likely to get. He could reach the green with this shot. I just don't want to be in those wind bushes. So despite all that, I'm not aiming. I'm just going to just play it for the center line, but we'll hit our 4-wood here. It's a 55, is a 3, so it goes a little bit left. It means we probably would have missed those wind bushes with any kind of aim, but you don't know that in advance. So this shot goes 520 left 10. So that's 500, 10, 20, left 10. He actually hits the fairway, so we're going to get 10 more roll. 5, 10. That does put him on the green, pretty far away, but he's on the green, and that's all I was really looking for. And that's going to be 1, 2 diagonals. Wait a minute, 1, 2 diagonals, and 3 straights away. And that means he's got an 83-foot putt for an eagle. That's there. Well, that's not going to happen, I don't think, but we may have a pretty good shot at a birdie here. So we'll play it safe. 14 is probably a 14, yep, in the P column, so 14 over here from 83 feet. He leaves it 3 feet out. So 3 feet away for a birdie. 52, that's okay. That's a 21 in the P column, and that is in. So, again, this hole plays under par. All right, so now we're 1 under. 100% fairways, 80% greens in regulation to this point. While I'm here, I'm just going to go ahead and call up hole number 6, and then I'll show it to you on the camera. All right, flip this over. Hole number 6. Our pin is going to be over here in the front right, just in front of those crosshairs there. We'll talk a little bit more about what those are. I'll give you a wider view here. All right, so now you can see most of hole number 6. Today it's playing at 405 yards, right 10 to the center line. We have the opportunity to use a momentum again. You know, the one bad thing about Birthplace is that most of the stuff that can get you in trouble is right at the center line. So if you have an average W that's an even number, there's lots of times when you can't actually use it. Because if you use it without the ability to aim or work the ball, you're going to end up in trouble. And I think that's going to be the case again for Rose on this hole. So he's just going to pocket his momentum point. But before I say all that, let's take a look at the wind. Something crazy could happen that might change everything. So we get a wind roll of 23, and that translates to a 10 carry. Not a huge difference. No left or right movement. Okay, so his average W is a 4, 265. So this ball is probably going to go about 275. Let's take a look at the landing area there. 275 is in this neighborhood here. Oh, so we would actually get past all this trouble right there with that. You know, we're going to end up short-sighted here, but he's only 10 yards off the center line, so it's not like even if we can't work the ball on the second shot, it's not a huge disaster. So let's go ahead and look at using his momentum point. And whoops, for whatever reason, I'm clicking in areas where I can't click. Okay, so let's record that momentum point. Let's see what we're going to do here. Use the driver. We're going to take a 4. We're going to take the average W, reduce 5 yards, and take the shot. The hole notes for this hole all pertain really to when you get up around the green, so I'm not referencing them at this point. And this shot goes 275 right 10, so that's here. And we're going to get 20 roll, so that's going to be 295 right 10. So put our 20 in, update it, fairway, and we're certainly far enough back that we could work the ball if we want to, and we probably will, depending on what the wind shows us. So let's take a look at the wind for our second shot. we get a 55 this time. So a 55 means this ball is going to carry an extra 15 and go 10 right. Well, it's going in the direction that we want. So 15, 10 right. And again, in case you've forgotten, I'm using the type B wind column that's on the whole wind chart, and I'm using moderate wind, so I'm reading the values that are left of the slash mark in that particular column, and doing that for every shot for which wind could be a factor. And that basically means everything over 45 yards out. All right, we'll click on continue to record that. So that's going to leave us 95 away. And I think what I'm going to end up doing is using the approach caddy for this. I'll show you how you do that with all this wind that we've got. We've got this 15 carry and 10 right. So we'll turn on the path button here, or click on the path button. And you can see the call distance is 110, but we're going to get rid of a lot of that because of the wind. We'll go ahead and approach from the south. You'll notice before I make any changes that the target is 405, right? Because that's where the pin center line is. But because of the wind, if we were to actually hit the shot the way that things are set up right now, and we got a perfect shot, meaning there was no left-right variation, no north-south variation, that shot would actually go to the 420 point on, we would go 420 right 10, which is way past the pin. So we don't want to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to back off some of this wind distance here and get this down to where it is 100 or lower. So I'm going to subtract 15, and that will put us at 390. Okay, and once I log that in there, okay, now you can see our call distance is 95. Our target is now 390. So the 390, okay, target is actually, this is I gotta be able to show you this. So let me, all right. So the pin placement is at 405 right 10. 390 would be 15 in this direction, right? So we're targeting the point where I've got the green ball marker, but the wind is going to push it 15 yards north, meaning away from the tee box towards the green, and it's going to push it 10 yards right. So in essence, we don't have to work the ball because of the wind helping us out so much. So if we hit the perfect shot, that ball is going to end up right on the pin. All right, I'm going to remove this marker so you don't get confused by what that is. And we're just going to go ahead and take this shot. So call distance is 95. Come over here, click on 75 to 100. We do have these hole notes here. So I'm just going to add this. This is my 2 cents worth. You play this whatever way you interpret these course notes, but here's how I interpret it. All right, so this is saying that all shots landing on red crosshairs on green roll back 15. All shots landing on red crosshairs in fairway roll back 10. Okay, shots landing on red crosshairs forfeit any indicated roll. Okay, so basically they roll back and then they stop. Add 5 yards roll to all other shots landing on the green. Now here's what I mean by interpretation. When I'm using the approach caddy, it operates totally different from the WI clubs, okay? And this is not just the game caddy. It's true of the APBA golf game itself. You know, with these, you hit a shot, it lands somewhere, you find out how much roll you've got, and you go ahead and apply it accordingly. With the approach caddy, it works based on targeting a location. There is no such thing as roll. That's why we haven't been fooling around with any of the rolls down here when using the approach caddy. And you don't actually know where the ball lands. You don't know how the ball ended up where it ended up. So on that basis, I'm not going to add this 5 yards roll to other shots landing on the green because I don't know exactly where that ball landed. All I know is where it ended up. If that's a little confusing for you, reverse the video and listen to what I just said because I said exactly what I meant to say. And if you think about it a little bit, hopefully you'll see it the same way that I do. But if you want to play it differently, the Game Caddie will let you. That's entirely up to you. Game Caddie does not apply these notes or any hole notes automatically. These are all in text. The Game Caddie doesn't know how to interpret this. That's what the course adjustments and other boxes are for applying anything that's in the hole notes. All right, so let's take the shot after that lengthy explanation. So we get a 31, and in the A column, that's a 3. I think we're going to be pretty happy with that. Type a 3 in there, take this, and that shot ended up at 405, right 10, right on the pin. We've got no straights or diagonals to calculate. Click the calc button, and that shot is 5 feet away for a birdie opportunity. Click ball on green, and now that shot is recorded, and we're going to jump over to the putting boards. From 5 feet, you got to go for it. We will. 62, that's probably okay. That's a 15. 15 from 5 feet is in. So another birdie. Wonderful. All right, I'm going to load hole 7 again while I'm here. And let's go ahead and flip to the actual course board to show you hole 7. This is a relatively short par 4. It's marked 371 yards. And the pin location is kind of here in the back right, so it might play a little bit longer than that today. And now I'll show you the rest of the hole. It's got a dog leg. It's one of the few holes here with a dog leg in this course. We've got some out of bounds up there on the left. That rarely comes into play, and hopefully that will be the case for Justin. That won't come into play. Okay, and we have some hole notes around red crosshairs, which are up there by the green. They could come into play on a tee shot if this ball gets hammered. So let me show you. Ball's landing, rolling onto the red crosshairs, and you can sort of see them on the left side there of the center line next to those two deep bunkers. They roll to the nearest point in the sand trap and stop. So we don't want to hit too far. In fact, I'll probably end up going with a 4-wood, depending on what the wind situation is here. All right. Click the all-in-one menu button. We get a 45 for our dice roll. Thank you, auto roll. Saves me time. And that 45 means we get 15 yards carry and the ball goes 5 left due to wind. 15, 5 left. Hit continue. Okay. We could use a momentum. I don't really want to use a momentum. I want to save some momentums for the back 9 or par 3 holes where sometimes they can give you a real good birdie opportunity. So what do we want to do? I think we want to go with a 4-wood here and just hit it straight down the center line. I guess I could aim 5 right just to offset that wind that's going to take us 5 left. This is a normal dog leg at 240. So I don't anticipate going that far past the dog leg for it to be a big deal. So let's hit that 4-wood and see what we get. It's a 32, not a great roll. 23 in the W column, take the shot. So this goes 240, left 35. All right, so this is 240 here. And it's one of these situations where do I go this way or do I go that way? Well, to me, it's going to be easier to go this way, so I'm gonna do this. You've probably got enough where you can see, but let me zoom in a little bit just to make it a little bit easier on your eyes. There we go. All right, so you've got multiple 240s yard lines because of the dog leg, and we'll go 35 left here. So we know that that's 30 left. All right, and so let's add another 5 yards. So that is 240, 35 left. I think that's 30. Let me just double check that. Yeah. Except for the first hole, I think all of these longer cross marks or hash marks here, whatever you call these things, are 30 yards in length, and all the shorter ones are 15. The first hole is different for some reason. Okay, and then we get some roll with that. We get 15 yards of roll, so that's going to put us over there. We're going to be short-sighted, but you know that pin location is pretty close to the center line, so not a huge deal. There's our 15 roll. So we end up at 255, left 35, and that's what it looks like there on the course to me. Oh, and we need to select fairway, and that shot then gets recorded down here in the notes. All right, let's roll. Let's see what the wind's going to be. 62. 62 on this hole for wind. Plus 20, left 10. Well, it's going left. That's the good news, I guess. 20, left 10. That's a little bit more than we even want. If we knock down that shot, it would just carry 10 and go left 5. That might be something worth thinking about since we want to end up left 5. Let's see. No, we want to end up left 10. Sorry. Yeah. So just ignore what I said. So 120 is the carry objective. 3 in the average eye. Sandwich will carry 120. It's going to back up 5 yards on the roll if we get our average eye number, but that's okay. I can live with that versus a knockdown shot. Yeah, I can live with that. So I'm going to select the sand wedge here and just hit for the center line. Because that wind is going to blow us left, I think. Got a 52. Who knows where we're going? That's a horrible roll for an iron shot. It's a 27. Take that shot. Goes 375, left 30. So, okay, so we're 10 short here. 30, so that's 10, 20, 5, 30. Actually hit in the fairway. And we don't get any fairway roll. So we're just kind of sitting up there in the light green area, which is fairway off the green. We could putt from there, but that would be silly from that distance, I think. All right, 20 to the pin. So we'll not going to have any wind, of course, from that distance. Select the 15 to 20. Click 52 again. It's a 10. It's almost always a 10 in the approach column for 52. And that's going to put us 6 feet away for a par, potential par. Let's go for it. 61, finally something other than a 52. 61 is a 15 or 16. My goodness, these numbers are hard to read. That's a 16. And 16 from 6 feet is good. Either of those numbers, of course, would be good. So we get a par on that hole. All right, let's move on. Come over here and we'll load hole 8. All right, so this is going to be a par 3. But unfortunately, we didn't get a birdie, so we can't take advantage of any momentum points. But thankfully, we didn't bogey either. All right, our pin placement is going to be way cool. It's right here, just a little bit off the center line at 5 yards away from the center line. Then back out a little bit so you can see the entire hole. I mean, there's, unless we get a really terrible shot, there's no reason why we should not hit the green on this. And as you can see from the hole note over here, we'll add 10-yard roll to shots that land on the green. So we'll have to take that into account with our planning. But let's go back here and draw this in a little bit. All right. I'm going to hope that we end up somewhere in that vicinity. Let's look at our wind. We get a 33. 33 turns out to be -5 carry. Once you get to, using the type B wind, once you get to the 8th hole, you start to run into headwind versus tailwind. You'll notice that one if you watch the video on the back nine too. All right, put that in. So our carry objective, it says 190 up here, but because it doesn't know about this hole note. So our carry objective really is assuming no roll at all, would be 180, because we'd add 10 yards roll to that. So if we come over here in the average I column, a 180 is a 6-iron. That's going to get 5 yards roll. So that would take us 5 yards too far unless we knock it down. And if we knock it down, that's essentially going to cancel the -5 carry. If we knock it down, it doesn't do us really any good. So I'm not going to knock it down. Keeping in mind, when you knock down shots, what it does is it halves the wind, okay? And then because we've got rounding here, this essentially rounds to a 0. All right, so let's go. Let's do a 6-iron. And I'm not gonna work the ball, even though he's an A. We'll just take whatever we get. 46. It's gonna be interesting. That's a 36 in his I column. Right. So that converts it. This is a special result. It converts that 36 converts to whatever his average I happens to be, which is a 3. So we'll click OK. I'm not going to reduce it 5 yards because I do want that ball to go to the left, and a 3 would go to the left. So I'll click on no change. We'll choose that. And that shot goes 175 left 5. So 175 left 5 is going to put that ball 65, 75, 60, 75, left 5. It's going to roll 10 because of that hole note there. And then it's going to roll another 5 yards. So as I predicted, we end up 1 straight away from the pin. And with a green of that magnitude or that size, I will definitely take it. So 10 feet for a birdie. Let's go over to the putting boards. Go for it. Oh, double ones. Beautiful. That's a 3 in the P column, and that's definitely in, right, from 10 feet, 1 to 18. So another birdie. I love it. Okay, now we're 3 under through 8 holes, and I think we still got 2 of our momentum points here. So let's go on to hole number 9. Birthplace, hole 9. Having a pretty good round here. Okay, and I need to show you hole 9. And that's what this looks like. The pin placement, it's going to be way over here to the left. I think that's at 25 right there from the center line. Back it out again. Wish I had a hotkey for doing that, but I don't. All right, so the hole looks like this. And you can see we've got a variety of things going on. We've got wind bushes over on the left, and we've got deep bunkers along the right, not too far from the center line. We do have a momentum point if we're able to use it. Let's see what our wind looks like after I zoom in a little bit to look at the likely landing area. Okay, here we go, and our wind is a 53 roll. 53 turns out to be lose 15 yards. So we got a headwind of 15. That's a minus 15. Whoops, minus 15. Where's the minus? Okay. And so let's see how that affects us. I want to use a momentum here if I can, because I don't really want to have to aim left of those deep bunkers and then find myself in those wind bushes. We don't have any hull notes that we have to worry about. So let's see. He's got an average W of 4. That's this column here. So that 265 is going to have 15 yards knocked off it. So that's 250. And then it's going to go right 15, but we can make that right 10. And I think we'll be okay, because I don't think we'll roll up far enough. Yeah, not certainly with soft course conditions to hit that deep bunker. So we can actually use our momentum, and it's going to give us a good angle for our next shot, which is vital in this case since that ball is so far off the center line. So we just need to figure out how to put this in the game caddy. So I'm going to put in a 4 for his average W. I'm going to take that average W and reduce it by 5. I'll take the shot. Okay, that's 250, right 10, just as I said before, and we get 20 roll. I'll put that in the adjusted roll box, and that's going to be 270, right 10. So we're sitting right there. We missed that deep bunker. You know, I'm not zoomed in quite enough for you to probably see that we did miss that, but so I'll try to get in a little bit closer. And if you notice, the 10-yard mark out from the center line on the right there just goes above that deep bunker. So we rolled right past it on its left. So I'll come back and put this at a distance where we'll be able to see the hole on the next shot. And the two things we need to do now is we need to update this shot to record the stroke. So we'll do that, put that ball in the fairway, and I need to record the momentum here. Normally I do that before I take the shot, but I didn't do it in this instance. It doesn't matter when you do it. You know, this is only for your benefit. It doesn't do anything internally in the game caddy. It's just a way of keeping track of how many momentum points you've used. So let's look at where we are now. Okay, and let's next look at the wind. We've got a 24 for our roll. 24 is going to be -5 carry. And I think we're going to be within approach distance, but we're going to be more than 70 yards out, so we're going to have full wind effects. Okay, so this, again, notice what happens here. The target defaults to where the pin is when you have a good angle. So it's targeting 350, left 25. But because we know that we have a -5 carry from this distance, that means if we were to get that perfect shot, the ball would actually go, instead of 350 left 25, it would go 345 left 25. So we'd need to add another 5 here if we actually wanted to target the pin itself. And what I think I'm going to do here is I'm going to make this left 20 instead of 25, because I don't want to hit it past the green on the left. Okay, now I'll change this to 20. And do I want to leave that? So in essence, where I'm targeting at the moment, there's the pin. I'm targeting right here at the moment. And what I think I'll do is I'll target this spot right here. So I will change this number to 355. and that'll make this number 350. All right, so I'm targeting one square to the right of our actual pin location, and our call distance is 95. Come over here. 64 is a 3 in the A column. Take the shot, and that ball went 350 left 20, so it went exactly where we targeted it. So we are one straight away. That's going to leave us with a 4-foot putt for another possible birdie. So let's go ahead and put out here. 63 is a 26 in his P column. That's good. From 4 feet. Is it? Let's see, 4 feet. No, I was looking at 3 feet. So 4 feet out. Oh, goodness. It would be good for a par, but because we're going for a birdie, it's not good. So it ends up being a tap in. If you forget how these P's and B's work, you can look at that information well in the box that happens to be behind the where you're looking at the course, and I can't show it to you because I can't scroll down any farther. Oh, maybe I can. I'm sorry. I didn't scroll in the right direction. Let's see if I can show you the box I'm referring to. This is I'm having difficult with mouse control there. This box right here, okay, explains P's, B's, TI's, and clutch and what all that means. So let's go back and look at what we were looking at before. So this is going to end up being a tap in. And you don't have to roll for that. That just adds a stroke there. So he ends up with a 4. So not too shabby. 3 under for the front 9. 100% greens and fairway. 78% greens in regulation. We weren't in the sand at all, thank goodness. Longest drive was only 295. Longest putt was only 10 yards. 10 feet. And then total length putts is pretty short, 34.5. But only 13 putts on the front 9, which is remarkable for Birthplace, given the size of those greens. It's easy to rack up over 30 putts for 18 holes on this particular course. Okay, that's it for the front 9. Play the back 9 and put up that video in a day or two, I hope. Hope you're learning from these videos. I hope you're enjoying them. And I enjoy making them. If you want to get a copy free of the Game Caddy, email me, Scott Moeller at smoeller9@gmail.com. I'll send it to you. There's lots of tutorials over on the Game Caddy channel, not to be confused with this channel, which is the Game Caddy Play channel. And if you want to read all kinds of posts about the Game Caddy, how it works, tournament results, replays, all that stuff, you can find that at the Game Caddy website, which is at thegamecaddy.com. Until next time, grip it and rip it.